Class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we are going to learn the Haftorah of Parshat Masei. The second Haftorah in the set of the Haftorahs, the three Haftorahs before Tisha B'Av, the 3 weeks Haftorahs. We spoke about it last week. It's page 1465. It's called Klata de Poranuta. The 3 Haftorahs were speaking about the destruction of the temple to Jerusalem. Then we started a minute early, it's our fault. Have a book down. Then this is the second Haftorah. Last week was chapter 1 in the book of Jeremiah. This week it's chapter 2 in the book of Jeremiah. Really, you have a continuation. But this is the continuation of actually last week we had chapter 1 plus the first verse in chapter 2. Because the first few verses, the first 3 verses of chapter 2 were very positive. Now we get into the nitty-gritty, into the harsh words of the Haftorah. What really Jeremiah has to tell us, what God tells us through Jeremiah, what I really think about you guys. And this is not so pleasant, let's say it the least. But we survived. We're still here, right? It's not so bad. Then let's start to read it, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Listen to the word of God, O house of Yaakov, and all the families of the house of Israel. This is what God says.
Listen to the words of God. What God says.
What wrong did your fathers find in me, that they distanced themselves from me, and they went after gods of emptiness, and become empty themselves?
Okay. Koyama Hashem, so says God. What have your fathers found wrong in me? Why they left me? Why they went after the emptiness, the nothingness? What is the nothingness that it means here?
Idol worship.
Idol worship. What God says, what have I have done wrong, and I don't deserve your trust? I mentioned that a few weeks ago, that Rabbi Greenberg used to stand up Yom Kippur at night and play the same thing on the opposite. God, what have you found wrong in the Jewish people? What do you want from them? Don't they so trusting in you for so many years, they still believe in you. They are being killed for you, they're your religion. What do you have against your people Israel? That was the Rabbi Greenberg was considered the defender of the Jewish people, demanding God before he started Kol Nidrei. Here is what Jeremiah says in the name of God to the Jewish people. He speaks about the fathers. The fathers means the Jews who left Egypt, and mix it in with the children, with the generations later. This is 800 years after they left Egypt, not 2 weeks. But basically God said, you're all the same. You know, it's like when your wife screams at you and says, you and your kids are all the same. You and your boys. And your mother and your brother. Okay, number 6.
They did not repent and say, where is God, who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, who led us in the desert, providing our needs, in a desolate land of pits, in a land of waste and gloom, in a land where no man has passed, and where no man had settled.
It says, they didn't say, let's look for God, who took us out from Egypt, took us into a desert that was darkness and was nothingness there, a place of death. And God pulled us throughout the desert. No man was ever living in this place. Ashalo yashav Adam sham. Amen. When we say Adam, who are we talking to? Usually Adam means a man. But the word Adam, what is the word Adam stands for?
Earth and...
Very good. Adama. Why? Because a man is made from Adama, from earth. But Adam has another meaning. Adame. Adame means like. Dome means you look like somebody else. When you say your children look like you, how is there another word in English for it?
Resemble.
Resemble. Adame means to resemble. Thank you. Adame la'elyon. We are like the one above. Every human being is the image of God, right?
Same root as demut.
The mood, very good, yes. Then every person is an image of God. It means when we say a man was not sitting there, means God was not in the desert, so to speak. There is nobody there to recognize God in the desert. It's a place for wild beasts. No godliness in the desert. And I took you there, I took you out from Egypt, took you to the desert. That's number one. I deserve credit for this thing, God says. Let's continue number 7.
Didn't I bring you to a vegetative land to eat of its produce and its goodness? But you came and contaminated my land and made my heritage an abomination.
Okay. And I brought you to a land, a vegetative land of Carmel, that everything grows there good. To eat from your fruit and the goodness. And what have you done? And when he says, when you contaminate it, he says the word my land. First he says, I brought you to a land. Then when contamination says, you contaminated my land. You took a land that I gave you, a holy land. And because it's a holy land, you made it, when you don't behave there, you're making it worse. See, Israel is a land that you're allowed to be there only if you're ready to behave accordingly. It's like being in the White House, you better behave. You know, there is a whole discussion in Jewish law. What needs to be cooked by a Jew, and what's considered food, basically. Food is considered anything that goes on the table, goes on a table of kings. In today's, in a world that there is no kings, where is the only place that there is a king?
Israel.
King
The leaders of the country.
in England.
Oh, Sweden.
The monarch.
Queen,
Monaco.
The monarch.
a monarch. Then some rabbi wanted to know what is considered food that goes on the table. That he called the chef in the queen's palace. He told them like this: anything that you touch with the hand doesn't go up on the table. No such thing as eating with the hand. Not pretzels and not on the table. No such thing as eating with the hand. Number one. It means in the palace there is a certain rule. There's a code of behavior. Before you go to see the queen, they give you a whole training. How you stand in front of her, now you talk to her, now you shake the hand, now. When we come to the palace of God, to the land of Israel, we better live up to it. God says, you came to my land and you contaminated the land. Get out of here. That's why Jewish people for the last 2,000 years were hesitating about going to Israel. It wasn't that nobody could make it to Israel. If this would be the number one thing to do, many, not every, but many Jews would find a way. But when you look at Israel as a holy land, then you have to be a holy person. That's what God is saying here in the name, Jeremiah is saying in the name of God. I brought you to my land. You started to worship idols there. I don't need you here. Bring you to my house, and you start to do your own thing, you get out. Now, he complains in general about the generation who left Egypt. He brought them from Egypt to the land of Israel. Over the last 800 years, many of them worshipped idols. Now he says, number 8, the priest.
The priests who were supposed to teach truth did not teach the people to say, "Where is God? Why have you abandoned him?" Those who hold on to the Torah did not want to know of me, and the kings who are shepherds of the people rebelled against me, and the prophets prophesied in the name of the deity Baal and followed futility. Therefore I will
Whoa. Let's stop right here. Here is a complaint against 4 types of people. The Kohens. The original job of the Kohen, as is mentioned a few times, is not just to be in the temple. A regular Kohen was serving in a temple in a good mood 2 days a year. There were 24 groups used to come from the Kohens. Every group, every, what do you call it, like in the army, every unit was serving 1 week. And let's say you belong to a unit, you come one week to the temple, from Sunday to Saturday. That's your week. Any Kohen here? Oh, here's a Kohen. Every day they used to make a raffle. Let's say they need 50 people to serve in the temple. That's it. If you won the raffle, you're serving. If you didn't win, you wait for next day, for the third day. Basically, let's say every group was 300 Kohens. That if you had 1 day in the temple during this week, fine. 24 groups. How often you come to the temple? If every group has a week. Twice a year. Then twice a year, for 2 days, you were in the temple. What is he doing the rest of the year? Selling ice cream. That's nice. All the Kohens in the time of the temple, before, when he was in his last life, in his past life, that the job of the Kohens was to teach the Torah. They were the leaders. They were the rabbis. Yoru mishpatecha leYaakov v'toratcha leYisrael. Moses, when he speaks about the tribe of the Levites, he says they will teach the Torah to Jacob and the laws to Israel. The job of the Kohens was to teach Torah. That he says, Kohanim, that's what he says. The priests who are supposed to teach the truth did not teach the people to say, where is God? Why have you abandoned him? They didn't tell the people, they didn't teach the people, to search for God. You have to teach the kids to search for God. How should they know about God if nobody is teaching them? That God is complaining, we are the Kohens. Then he goes to the next step. And who is the next step?
Those who hold on to the Torah.
Those who hold on to the Torah. What does this mean? What they say, those who hold on to the Torah? Did not want to know me? What does this mean? You hold on to the Torah and you don't want to know God? What does this mean?
There's sometimes people who are scholars, but are sort of separated. They don't really practice it. It's more of an intellectual pursuit.
Tofsei Torah, people learn Torah, could be the Sanhedrin, the Supreme Court. And they don't know God. Isn't it sad? A person learns Torah all day and doesn't know God. What does this mean? He never makes he learns it intellectually. Wow, beautiful. But he never realized that he's dealing with the wisdom of God. The Torah must make a change in you, in me. If not, there is a problem. You see, when you learn psychology, you learn mathematics, you learn the Chveizvos, all the Schwarzjahr, it doesn't have to affect you. You learn philosophy. Why you don't behave? I don't. Because I need to get a PhD. I learned. In Judaism, what you learn must make a different change in you. That if the Torah did not make a change in the person, then he said, Tofsei Torah, the people who hold on to the Torah, didn't know me. What means to know God? We mentioned that a few times. To know God means to have a relationship with Him. I know somebody, I met many people. I have a relationship with what? To know somebody? It's a whole different relationship. They learn Torah, but they forget about God. There is an expression in the code of Jewish law, Arbe lamdu Torah, many learn Torah, v'shechachu al noten HaTorah. They forgot about the giver of the Torah. You know that every morning we say a bracha, the same blessing we say when we come up to the Torah. Say Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, natan lanu et Torato, right? The one who chose us from all the nations and gave us His Torah. Baruch atah Hashem, blessed are you, noten HaTorah, gives the Torah. Why we need to say it every day? To remember that the Torah belongs to God. It's the Torah of God. That's not my Torah. I cannot do with it whatever I want. Oh, I don't like this line. Okay, this was about different daughter. Doesn't work like this. The attitude to the Torah has to be, I'm coming to the Torah. This is truth. And now I'll try to understand. If I don't understand, nothing changes. Not because I don't understand, let's cut it out. Hey, what's with the guy on the other side? It's his problem because he was a neighbor. Therefore, you cut out this picture. Because the guy used to learn when he used to learn Talmud. Whoever didn't like what Rashi says used to cut it out. Tell him, what's with the Rashi? Don't say. He said, too bad. It's his problem. It's his neighbor. Let him suffer too. We don't cut out something we don't like. That was the problem there. The Tofsei Torah. You see, God doesn't complain to the regular people. God complains to the leaders. We are the leaders. That's the question. The regular people don't do the... What do you want with the regular people? Throughout history, by blaming the leaders, we save the Jewish people. Being a leader in Judaism is far from a joy, far from a pleasure.
That's sort of true with Pinchas, where
It's true with Pinchas, it's true with everyone. There is stories. The reason why the Jewish people were exiled from Israel, they were exiled by a good king who tried to take off the blame from himself, basically blamed the whole, put the blame over the Jewish people, and therefore they were all blamed, therefore they had to be exiled. Forever and ever, when it was a bad king, it was good to the Jewish people. You can always blame the king. The king is bad. What are you going to do for the Jew? What do you want with a simple Jew? And it was true. The same thing here, Jeremiah says, who is he talking? To the Kohanes. Then he talks to the people who hold on to the Torah, to the Sanhedrin, to the Supreme Court. Then he says, the leaders, the kings. What the kings done?
rebelled against me.
Rebelled.
Shepherds of the people rebelled against me, and the prophets prophesied in the name of the Baal. Baal was idol. Much easier to prophesy to the Baal says. Everybody wants to hear what the Baal has to say. It's going to be good, life is good, you're such good people. Jeremiah comes and prophesies. See, between Jeremiah and Isaiah was like a void of prophecy, of true prophecy. Like 50 years of Menashe. Menashe was a wicked king who joined the Assyrian government, not just joined, he brought the Assyrian culture to Jerusalem, to Israel. And it was like an Assyrian city. And the economy was booming, it was amazing. And now comes Jeremiah, and he starts saying, what is happening here? No leaders, no Kohanes, no prophets, no leaders, no rabbis, no nothing. They are to be blamed. Where are they? Therefore, number 9.
Therefore I will still dispute with you, says God, and I will contend with your children's children.
Oh, dispute with you. Sounds much better. It's not like punishing you. We'll have an argument in court. No, you can live with that, right?
It's God. You're going to lose.
You understand? As long as he says, I will argue with you,
Means you
that
have
is
a
a
chance.
comforting. Exactly, there is a chance.
Really.
It means that you can do tshuva, that we can convince God it's not so much our fault. There is a place of dialogue, discussion. Number 10.
Go to the isles of the Hittites and see. Send messengers to Kedar and ponder deeply. Observe
Where
the
is Hittite? Where is Kedar? I read where it is and I forgot. Hittite and Kedar, I don't know. It's foreign countries basically. Like maybe India, I don't know, I don't remember.
The islands. The islands.
Maybe in the islands, whatever island it
What
is.
islands are there?
And ponder deeply. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Observe.
Observe the idolaters there to see if there was ever anything like this, where a nation exchanged a god for another, and their gods are not even real gods. Yet my nation exchanged my glory for futility.
You see, God says here something unbelievable what Jeremiah is saying here. Go around to other nations. You ever saw a nation should start to believe in a different God? He says, even their gods are nothing to begin with. Still they don't exchange their religion to another religion. And you have a true God, a real God, and you exchange for nonsense. And you are smart people, you know the difference between nonsense and real. No matter what Jew worship idols, nobody convinced himself that it's real. He knew he doesn't want to do mitzvahs, he's lazy, the Baal is more entertaining, it's more funny, it's more fun. Nobody ever convinced himself that this is real. God says, the Gentiles never exchanged their religion for another religion. And you, like this, throw everything away, and you have the real thing. There is an example in the book of Jeremiah, I remember in another place, about, he brings an example, I think, from the people, from the descendants of Jethro, with the wine drinkers. Who didn't drink wine?
That's right.
Who?
That's right.
No.
Nazarenes.
Huh?
Nazarenes?
You know from the book of Jeremiah. Don't you learn the book of Jeremiah? What's going on? It was an old group of people that their father made them promise not to drink wine.
By the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Sadducees.
No, not a Jewish group. They are the descendants of Jethro, I think. And Jeremiah takes them. Yeah, look up. I want to know there. What's the name? I forgot the name. And Jeremiah brings them to the Jews as an example. Look, they had a father who lived 100,000 years ago, and told them not to drink wine, and I think also something else, and to live in tents, and they live up to their Godfather's promise. And you guys cannot live to what God told you. Basically a similar example. He says, go all over the world. You ever heard of such a thing that people should change a God? Even that God is nonsense. They still don't change it. And you have to have the real thing and you change that. No. You find it. Okay, number 12.
Rabbi, I can't remember if it was last class, but I think you had said that God was shifting the power away from Israel to Iran.
To
What
Babylon.
was Assyria and then to
From
Iraq.
Assyrian to Iraq, yeah.
Here it is. It was Jeremiah 35.
Yeah, what
6.
do the people?
Where they said, we will drink no wine for
Yeah, what's the name of the people?
Jonadab, the son of Rechab,
Yonadav, yeah.
the son of Rechab, our father commanded us, saying, ye shall drink no wine,
Yeah.
neither ye nor your sons forever.
Yeah. Exactly. And what is he bringing it as an example?
What was the name?
Jonadav ben Rochov, I think. Rachov, yeah. Rachov.
Remember the commercial? You should drink no wine before it's time.
No, it's that's with a chet. Rachov with a chof. Rachov. And he's using it as an example to the Jews to point out that the Jews should also observe their religion, the traditions.
Cyprus.
Huh?
Cyprus.
What, the
Cyprus?
Hittites?
Oh, maybe those are the islands,
No,
the Greek
it's
islands.
They're called the Rechabits. Rechabites. They're called the Rechabites. That's what I
Yeah,
call
but I think they are descendants of Jethro.
No, it is. That is. That's how I looked it up.
Yeah.
I said descendants of Jethro who don't drink wine.
Very good. That's how I found it.
That's a
Very
long
good.
lead there.
Very nice.
Very literal.
So if God was shifting the power from Syria to Iraq, to
Yeah.
Babylon, why is it a surprise that Israel itself, whatever that it is then, was devastated that they wouldn't follow anything because they're being assimilated basically into Assyrian culture and to Babylonian culture.
Why it's a surprise? God says, you have a real thing, you lose it.
Well, clearly there was.
The Babylon was to control them, doesn't mean you have to assimilate. That's not because we live in America, it means we have to assimilate.
Does he prophesize
But isn't it, that's what people do?
People do. That's what the whole idea is, not to do what people do.
I understand it.
I know that people do. That's why we don't really blame him. Who we blame? We blame the prophet, the leaders, the Kohens, and the rabbis. That's what we blame. We don't blame the regular people. You're right, that's
Because
what
they
people
didn't
do.
hold them to a higher standard
They didn't,
throughout the difficulty.
Exactly.
I was going to say, is these prophecies of Jeremiah before or after?
Before the destruction
But
of
he
the
does
temple.
after too?
Mainly before.
Mainly
Most of
before.
his prophecies before. Number 12.
O heavens, be devastated about this and storm, become very desolate, says God. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the spring of living waters, and furthermore, this was only to dig for themselves wells, broken cisterns that do not hold water.
Okay, let's stop right here. Oh heavens, in Hebrew it's Shomu Shamayim. You heavens stand up and you measure it. Like it became an expression in Hebrew. Whenever somebody wants to say something terrible happened, he said Shomu Shamayim. This became a word, a very common expression in Jewish culture and language. What he says, two bad things the Jewish people did. Now think about it. You're living in Israel. Before the days of running water, what do you rather have? A spring coming through your backyard or a water cistern? A well, right? Now, how about if you have a well and you replace that not just with a water cistern, with one who is broken that's leaking? This is the metaphor that the prophet is using what the Jewish people did to themselves. You had the spring water, you were drinking from the well, from the real thing. And not that you got instead not such clean water in a water pit, water system. It's broken, it's leaking, there is nothing there. There's not even day water, there's not there. That's what he says. Two bad things for my people have committed two evils. They left Makor Mayim Chaim. God is compared to a living well of water, stream of water. Living God. Va'atem advekim ba'Hashem Elokeichem Chaim. When you are cleaved to God, you are alive today. God is compared to a source of living water. Fresh, good water, living water that comes from the source. You cut off the living water and you went where? To broken cisterns or leak from all sides?
Just doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't sound good. Oy vey. We have to find something good about the whole thing. Number 14.
Is Israel left uncared for like a slave? Is he ignored like a homeborn slave?
He says like this, God is in, he says, you are my people, you are the firstborn son of Israel, you are princess. Every Jew is a prince. You're bringing yourself down like slaves, that everybody can step all over you, that you do worshipping idols like any other schlepper on the world, in a low way. Peor was the way they used to worship idols was in a very low manner. It wasn't anything dignified. You go there, what are you, slaves? That's what God tells you. Number 18.
15.
I'm sorry, 15.
So why has he become
No,
a
there's a
prey?
line that was like,
Young
So why
lions-
has he become a prey?
So why, go ahead, continue, I'm sorry.
So why has he become prey? Young lions roar over him. They have raised their voices. They have made his land desolate. His cities were wiped out without an inhabitant. Even descendants of Noph and
Tachpanches.
Whom you trust will break the crown of your head.
He speaks like this, he says, everybody lying or roaring over you, it means to say other nations control you. You lost your leadership. You were the people of God. The whole world was afraid of you when you left Egypt. Now everybody is stronger than you. Even Nofach Tarpanches is 2 cities in Egypt. Even the Egyptians are stronger than you. Egypt was with the Syrian, with the weaker superpower. Forget about that Babylon is coming stronger. Even the weaker one is becoming strong, is controlling over you. Okay, let's continue.
If this is not brought upon you by abandoning God, your God at this time, he was leading you on the right path.
Okay, he says, isn't this came to you because you abandoned God when he took you on the road, on the way? Number 18, continue.
Now, why are you taking the path of relying on Egyptian assistance, drinking the water of Shechar? Why do you follow the path of the Assyrian assistance, drinking the water of the Euphrates River, when the only source of true assistance?
Okay, let's stop
is
right
God?
here. He says, he compares them. He says, you're going to Egypt. You're trying to drink the water of the Nile River. Shechor is the Nile. It's called Shachor because the water was a lot of dirty water. Why are you running after the Assyrian to drink the water of the Euphrates? Why are you going to other nations to try to be like them? To try to drink from their water, spiritual water, cultural water, whatever it is, to try to be like them. Number 19.
Your evil will chastise you, and you will be rebuked for following the thoughts of your heart. You will know and see that abandoning God, your God, is evil and bitter. Fear of me was not upon you, says the Almighty God of hosts.
Oy vey, it doesn't sound good. What does this mean? Yasrich rosech. Your evil will chastise you. What does this mean?
Your own conscience will plague you.
Your own
Your own sins will punish you. Basically, God doesn't punish you. There is no punishment. There is consequences. If I eat too much ice cream, I get a heartburn. If I eat too much meat, it's not a punishment. It's a consequence. The Yasrich Osech. Your evil will punish you. God says, what I give you the way of life is a way of life, of good life. You're going to other, you're doing the wrong things. This that you did the wrong things will get you the trouble. You get yourself in trouble. God doesn't have to get you in trouble. Our own bad behavior gets us in trouble. God gives us a way of life, good life, healthy life. You don't want, fine. But it's not that God punishes us. We are disconnecting ourselves from God. We get ourselves in big trouble. God says in the story of Jeremiah, if you listen to Babylon, you'll survive. If you listen to Assyrian, you'll be gone. The Jews chose to listen to Assyrian. The rest of it is not a punishment. It's a consequence. You tell your child, don't do it, it's not good for you. Don't play with fire. He played with fire, he burned himself. There's a punishment? No. It's a consequence. There is no punishment in God. God is like a good father or mother, a good parent who's trying to protect the child from doing wrong. No, I want to do it. Then do it. You go, he tells you, don't go to this party, you'll get only in trouble. He got in trouble, he was arrested. Then his father comes and pulls him out and bails him out. Didn't I tell you that? Don't the punishment.
So measure for measure is not so much towards the punishment side.
Measure for measure is an outcome.
If you do something good, you get good.
It's an outcome. It's just the way God created the world is, it's if you don't sleep well, then you're tired the next day. It's not a punishment. If you don't have faith in God, and you don't have a clarity about your Judaism, and you know what's your pet, you're lost. You're lost, you get depressed. You get depressed, you go to the psychiatrist. You get psychiatrist, he gives you medication. And at the end, it doesn't end anywhere. It's not a punishment, it's a consequence. God gives us a clear path. Know that film have the power to connect our mind and heart, to bring us peace of mind. There's a special character in the midst of film to bring us peace of mind. Bring us tranquility, thank you. Because you connect the heart and the mind. The film of the head are for the heart, the film of the head are for the mind. It brings it together. It connects, makes the connection between the two.
It makes a balance.
Makes the balance. Now, if you're looking for a way, it's much cheaper than psychiatrists and psychologists. Now, is it working for everybody? You know, mitzvahs is like a seatbelt. Anybody with a seatbelt never was killed? No. But the better chances, right? Mezuzah is a protection. People say, I had a mezuzah and didn't help me. I know. Seatbelt up to everyone, but there is better chances. Every mitzvah has your special nature, what she's good for. Kosher food is for a healthy stomach. With kosher food, you have better chances. Now, you tell me that everybody who is eating kosher food doesn't have any stomach problems. I know many good Jews. Maybe they eat too much on, you know what I mean? Even kosher, you don't have to eat until you die. There is laws in the Torah also not to stuff yourself. My man is right, you shouldn't stuff yourself. Don't eat until here, and then you ask yourself, oh, why I don't feel good? I'm sick. You show you're sick.
Isn't that just like the Alter Rebbe said, what's permitted, something?
Yeah, what is not, the Alter Rebbe said, what is not allowed is not allowed. What's permitted, you also don't need to. But what I mean to say, the whole system is a consequence. That's the two words here. Teyasrech rosech. Your evil will chastise you. I will not. God said, I'm not chastising you. No, I love you, my child. A parent doesn't punish his children. He just told them, I told you, the child drinks alcohol, then the next day he has a hangover for 2 days, he's sick. He tells them, I told you that drink. What do you think? It's a game? You drink that, you get sick. That's a punishment? It's not a punishment. That's exactly what's going on here. That's how God created the world. It doesn't need punishment. We're punishing ourselves.
It is self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted sorrows. Everything is like this. We self-inflict on ourselves all our problems. And by the way, even the rest, even when it comes to politics, the rest of the world cannot do to us what we do to ourselves. BDS started with, is encouraged by Jews. There are things that are accepted by everyone. The world doesn't even pressure us. Nobody ever come up and said you should give the Kotel, the Western world, to back to the Palestinians. Why? Because there is a, more or less, there is a unity, there is a general agreement by all Jews all over the world that the world belongs to us. Finish. Whatever Jews don't say, they once asked the Tsar. You know, there used to be blood libels in Russia. Ask the Tsar why he doesn't believe in blood libel. Why he doesn't believe it? He says, no, never a Jew came and told me that. A Jew never informed us about this. He says, it would be something real. Some Jew would come and tell us. Then it's the same idea. It's self-inflicted. We are giving ourselves the biggest sorrows. And that's what God says. God is a good father. He's trying to protect us, protect us. And then you know what I tell you? Enjoy it. I told you 10 times, don't do it.
But we're always hardest on ourselves. We're always most critical of
A
ourselves.
stiff-necked nation. That's our good part. You know, God says in the beginning of the story of the golden calf, he wanted to destroy the Jews, he tells Moses, because they are a stiff-necked nation, right? 3 pages later, Moses tells to God, forgive the Jews because they are a stiff-necked nation. It goes both ways. You understand what I'm saying? God says they are so stubborn, forget about them. Moses says they are so stubborn, just forgive them and finish it. You know, this is our good part. We are stiff-necked nation, that's why we are here. Or we are stiff-necked nation, that's why we are fighting with God all day. Number 20.
For I have helped you since long ago. I broke off the yoke of the nations that was on you and severed your bonds. You said, I will not transgress, but on every lofty hill and under every lofty leafy tree, you wander disloyally like a harlot.
It means to say you are worshipping idols under every tree. Like a harlot, because we have our commitment, our loyalty to God as a God. And we worship other idols. We are like a harlot. Okay, continue.
Okay. I planted you a good vine stock, Abraham, Isaac, Isaac, and Yaakov, who were all true seed. So how have you turned yourself into a foreign vine to me?
Says, I planted, he compares the Jewish people to a geffen, to a wine tree. I made you be the best wine. I planted with the best seeds, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're the best. What happened to you guys?
That's a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Whoever wrote this is.
Even if you wash with carbonate of soda and use much soap by giving charity publicly, your private sin is still a stain before me, says God Almighty.
He used to say like this.
A scene from Macbeth.
The sins are compared to a stain. Then Isaiah, just not long ago, 70, 80 years ago, said, if your sin will be red like crimson, they will
Make it white like wool.
will come white like wool. He says, even if you wash and wash and wash, you cannot get rid of the stain. It's a stain on the soul. Every sin is a stain on the soul. Now, when you do the sin once, it's a light stain, a little wash, you clean it up. You see the same thing twice, 3 times, 4 times, right? It becomes a real stain. Then you cannot clean it up. It's written when Moshiach will come, we'll all have to come with, we're all getting Moshiach. Everybody will show up. The question is, how are we going to look like? What kind of clothing are we going to wear? Clean clothing? Or we'll have to cover this up like this. We will have stains or we'll be clean. A person has to think every day, Moshiach is showing up by the door. I'm ready to get him. I tell him, hey, you came too early. Then there is certain things we can do tshuva, and we can wash this off. Certain things, God says here, no matter how much soap you use.
Why wait for Mashiach?
Yeah, it's really interesting. That's that scene from Shakespeare, from Macbeth, where he's washing the toilet.
Wash the blood out.
Can't get it
It's the
out.
scene right out at
Yeah, biblical reference.
What is the story? He tries to wash up the blood he killed somebody. He tries to wash the blood from the
Yeah,
he cannot get rid of it.
out damn spot or whatever it is, and he's rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. It's exactly what you did. He's rubbing and rubbing and can't get the stain out.
In Hamlet.
Yeah, he was familiar with
Was
his
it
Bible.
Hamlet or it was one of them?
Someone he wrote.
Yeah, it's true.
See, even Shakespeare agrees with us.
I think that Shakespeare actually got it here.
I know. Okay, we are in number 23.
How could you possibly say, I have not been defiled? I have not gone after the deities of Baal. Look at what you have done in the valley when you worship Baal. Think about what you have done. You swift young she-camel, clinging to her ways. You are like a wild donkey accustomed to the desert that runs around whenever she wants, drawing the wind into her mouth as she runs fast, like a donkey that seems pained to stay in one place. Can anybody make her go back again?
Okay, what is he saying? He's saying is you say you didn't sin, but you like to run around like a free donkey, like a camel. There's no control, running around in the desert, do whatever you want. Then he brings an example from the donkey that runs around in the desert, and draws here and continue.
All who seek to catch her will not grow weary. In her last month of pregnancy, she will move slowly, and then they will find her. Likewise, the Jewish people are heavy with sins and are easily caught by their enemies.
Okay. In the last month of pregnancy, this animal is being caught easy. And which is the last month that we are caught easy?
Baal PR.
Which month? Of. The month of Av, this coming month that Friday starts, Av, Tisha B'Av.
Right.
Tisha B'Av is the month we have the destruction of the first temple, the sin of the Jews in the world didn't want to enter the land of Israel, then of the first temple, the second temple, the expulsion from Spain, the expulsion from England. All tzores happened in this month, on this day. This is the night. Kristallnacht happened when?
Isn't it right around there?
1938.
I think so. It was
Which month? No, it was
Luther's
1938.
birthday.
There was some incident.
I'm sure that there was more than one incident
There's a
happened.
Holocaust.
Was on Tisha B'Av. The Holocaust is
Beitar?
one long Tisha B'Av.
Beitar, right?
Beitar happened on Tisha B'Av. Very good. The destruction of Beitar with Bar Kochva happened on Tisha B'Av.
Breaking of the tablets.
That's the 17th of Tammuz.
17.
Of Tammuz.
That's the fast stuff.
Yeah, that's why we fasted. Then what we're saying here is, they will catch up to you. All the sins will catch up to you. Okay, number 29, 20.
I just have a number
Five.
23. It says, I
Yeah.
have not been defiled, I have not gone after the... So
The
the
Jew
Jewish
says-
people are just telling God?
Yeah,
that I
kind of,
haven't done
yes.
that?
I'm not so bad.
How could they get away with that?
Not every Jew did bad, you need to understand. There is good Jews and less good, and some did more, some generations were better, some generations were worse. It's not like everybody was bad. Number 25.
You thought of correcting your deeds to prevent your foot from going barefoot and your throat from thirst in the exile. But you said, I give up hope of serving God. No, for I love strange gods, and I will follow them.
It says, God speaks, so to speak, he tells Jeremiah what the Jewish people say. I don't want to go to exile, but I gave up. Anyway, we're going to exile. Anyway, we're bad. Anyway, we're lost. And let's at least enjoy other gods. Number 26.
The house of Israel, the common folk, their kings, their princes, their priests of idol worship, and their idols of the deity of Baal have been ashamed before the nations, with the shame of a thief when he is caught being established as servants of Hashem. They went and worshipped idols.
The Jewish people were embarrassed, caught worshipping idols like a thief in the middle of the night. It's caught with his stealing. All the leaders, the Kohens, the prophet, the leaders, the kings, they were caught. You, the Jewish people, you're worshipping idols. You that you have such a great God, and the Jewish people feel embarrassed. What they do? What they say?
When they feel embarrassed, the first time they did it, or the 900th time they've done it?
Even the 900th time. Ultimately, a Jew feels embarrassed that he's caught doing a sin. Now, there is a concept of vidui. Vidui is confession. There's a mitzvah on Yom Kippur, say Hashem V'Gani, right? Say it all for the sin and for the sin and for the sin. Why do you have to say it? Why it's not enough to think about it?
It's confession.
Why we need confession?
Public
To be-
is more real.
Well, because as everything, it has to be tangible, it has to become material, it has to be physicality, everything, almost everything we do. Eventually, it can't just be a thought.
Saying it
Oh,
makes it material, makes
it real.
That's what I'm saying.
As long as you don't say it, you convince yourself you didn't really do it.
Still in the abstract.
But you make a person, for example, a person should say, I'm guilty. For a man to apologize, how painful it is. Just so today a joke, somebody writes, a guy came to his father and said he wants to get married. He says, say I'm sorry. He said, but why? Say I'm sorry. He said, why? Say I'm sorry. He said, okay, father, I'm sorry, but why? He says, now you're ready to get married. You say, I'm sorry, even if you don't know why. The idea of admitting to yourself that I'm wrong is the hardest thing. That's why when a person is caught doing a sin, it's like a thief. Because in his own mind, he doesn't even think that he did it. That even the 900th time, he thinks he didn't do it. No, I only did it because we'll find a reason. Number 27.
They say to the wood, you are my father, and to the stone, you gave birth to us, for they turned their back to me and not their face. Then at the time of their misfortune, they say, come and save us.
Wow. They tell that the wood, you are my father, the tree, they worship the tree, they worship the stone. And here comes a very important line. Ki ponu elai oiref veloi ponim. They turned my back to me, their back to me, not my face. Not their face, right? Where is it? So they turned their back to me and not their face. What does this mean? Two people could be very close. Now when a couple don't want to talk to each other, they turn their back to each other. They are very close, but they are very, very far. I want to give a pen, take the pen. You throw something to somebody behind your back. What kind of a taste? What kind of a feeling is it? Take it already. That's the relationship with God sometimes. We are not far away from God. We are in a different direction. Turn the back to Him. Rabbi used to say, Ponu elai, they turn to me, but with their back. They turn, but with their back. It means there is still a relationship. They turn the back. It means to say, what's the difference between the back and the front?
External to the back.
The back, in the back, everybody looks the same, right? The front makes the difference. Take a knife. There is the front and the back. The front is the purpose of the knife. The back is just there, just by default. The turning the back to me means, the back means, Judaism's godliness is a by the way. You turn to Him. You don't pay attention to how you look in your back. Nobody looks in the mirror to see how it looks in the back. Most of the people.
It's an indirect thing, instead of being direct.
No visual contact.
There is the purpose. No, it's deeper than that. There is the purpose, and there is the by the way.
What's like the enemy when you throw your...
The goal and the byproduct. Are you the goal? Is God the goal, or God is the byproduct? Is he the front of the knife, the sharp side that I need him to cut, or is it just the other side that just by default is there? We turn to God our back. It means to say, He's there. Yeah, we know, He's there. But you don't pay attention. You don't try to. Where you face, that's what you look for. Pono elai oref. We turn our neck to Him. Oref is the neck. Am kshe oref, a stiff-necked people, is the same word, oref. We turn the oref to Him, not the face. And when you have tzores, we turn to God and say, God, please help us. Okay, number 28.
Where then are your gods that you have made for yourselves? Let them come, if they are able, to save you at the time of your misfortune. For you had as many gods as cities, O Yehuda, so can't any of them help you?
God says, where is your gods that you worshipped all the years? Let them help you. As many cities said you have, that are many gods, the Jews said. Jewish people cannot agree about a god. You have this god, you have the Baal, I have the Peor, yes this, yes. Everyone has a different god. Because they're smart people, they're intelligent people, they don't, they create no gods. Every week there is another god. God says, where's all your gods? When you need help, let them help you. But we cannot finish the Haftorah on such a note, right? Mm-hmm. Then we continue on chapter 3.
We don't read the rest of the stuff here?
What? That's the next line is from chapter 3. That's what I'm saying. This is, we finished chapter 2 of the book of Jeremiah. We skip to the fourth verse of chapter 3. Let's read it in English. Will you not?
Where is it?
So it's
It's right there.
This is 4.
Will you not from now call me my father? You are the master of my youth.
Aha. After all, God is the master of our youth. Continue. The next verse. That's from chapter 4, the beginning of chapter 4.
If you return, O Israel, and confess your sins, says God, then you will have returned to me. If you remove your detestable things from my presence in Jerusalem, you will not wander in exile. If you will swear as God lives when promising to do truth and justice and righteousness, and not swear with my name to do falsehood, as you do now, the nations will bless themselves by wishing others that they should be like you.
That we finish the Haftorah in a positive note. We didn't bring people to shul to scream at them. Eventually God says, if you will come back, Israel, you will be mine. And if you will swear with truth that you'll do justice and charity. In Judaism, every time justice goes together with charity. It's a justice that it's supposed to be done with charity. Even the justice has to be done with charity. Not a justice that will go all the way to the end, no matter what. The justice has to also be done with charity, with love, with kindness. Don't be a judge that goes all the way, that's the truth, too bad. It doesn't work like this. And God says, in this case, the whole nation of the world will praise you and they will want to be like you. That's how we finish the Haftorah this week. After all these things, ultimately, a father remains a father.